Hi, welcome to Retrain Pain. I am Pete and I am your body electrician. Thank you for visiting my website or wherever you're seeing this. Yeah, I was in the army for nearly 10 years and much of that time I was injured. Eventually, I decided to quit my job, mostly because injuries prevented the progression in my career. The physiotherapy I received was fine, but it didn't actually work for me. I would be spending 40 minutes at least once or twice per day doing the stretches and the exercises, but the pains didn't really change. I still couldn't run more than a couple of miles. And after 12 months, if not longer, of treatment, I'd kind of given up hope that my legs would ever get better, thinking I'd never run long distances ever again, which is a sport that I love to do. After a brief stint in engineering after the army, I decided that I wouldn't let this kind of thing happen to myself or to other people. Naively, I became a personal trainer, thinking I could change the world. Hey, after a difficult transition, at about 9 months, I found applied movement neurology. Their advert specifically asked for experienced personal trainers, and I ignored that and bought the course anyway. That introduced me to neurology and how, when we use complex movements, you can quickly improve pain, flexibility, and strength. Complex movements just means that we're using multiple joints in multiple different ways, and it keeps the brain engaged in the movement rather than simple stuff like squatting or straightening a leg or an arm or lifting it out to the side in a very basic fashion. Through further education with AMN, we started at looking how to use neurology to get faster results without all the boring exercises that took months. Okay? This was even faster than the complex movement patterns, which are fantastic on their own. What I realized is that a pain is not necessarily anything to do with where you experience pain. My injuries were mostly leg-based. Say in my calf, I had Achilles tendonitis, runner's knee, hip problems. And through AMN, I realized there were much more lifestyle habits, stress reduction, and other things that I needed to do to overcome my leg problems. The joints and muscles are not only controlled by the nervous system and the brain, but also by what we eat, our digestive health, the cardiovascular system, our blood supply. Literally everything that's going on in our body can affect how we move and behave and how our body feels. So try this little experiment out. You just stand up for a moment and reach down for the floor without bending your legs. Don't try and force yourself down to the floor. Just kind of hang there and relax for a few seconds and take a little guide of where you've got to, whether you got to your toes, whether you're halfway down your legs, whether you're only just past your knees. It doesn't really matter. Stand back up. And now think a happy thought. Think about a lovely thing that you've done with your kids, some sort of celebration you've had in the recent past, or a positive moment that you've had in some area of your life, okay? Whether it's a wedding, whether it's a promotion at work, just something happy that has happened, something that's made you feel good. Take a moment to think about that. Now reach down to the ground again. What happened? Did you get further? Hopefully, you did. Hopefully the second one where you had a happy thought prior to doing that, it felt much easier. So our thoughts affect how our body works, let alone the lymphatic system, how we breathe, blood supply, what we eat, and everything else that we do in our life. So our body is not just a biomechanical machine that if I've got a pain in my shoulder, that means I've got a shoulder problem. A fault with any of our systems can impact any other area in the body, and they can often seem completely unrelated. For example, there might be a gut problem and a shoulder problem with you right now, or two other completely or seemingly completely unrelated aches and pains or health problems. You can do all of the rehab exercises in the world, but if you don't fix the gut, then the shoulder won't change either. So let's imagine there's two radios and they're on different radio stations. You like both songs that are playing, but you can't really appreciate either of them because they just blend together in a loud mush. It just ends up as a bunch of noise that hurts your ears. That's why most therapies will miss the mark. They're looking for one radio instead of both. Eventually, you'll start saying, I'm getting old, it's just my knees, I've got a dodgy blah, possibly even that it's genetic. Now, that might be partly true, but it's not the whole story. When we start looking at the whole body and taking a look at the big picture of everything that's going on for you, it might seem like a lot to ask to look at everything, but it's a lot easier than you think. Right? We're not just a series of parts in isolation. I'm not just levers and pulleys to lift my arm and bend my arm and move my wrist. I'm much more complex than that. Right? And when we start looking at everything as a whole experience, that's when we start getting some amazing results. If your injury history is long and complex, and there's lots of things going on, and even if they're minor now, they might just be niggles and some aches and pains and nothing particularly serious has happened. That's okay. What I'd like you to do is book a call with me for a brief chat about what we can do. That call is free, lasts anywhere between 15 minutes and half an hour, as long as I've got the time. And we can talk about everything that's going on for you. I can't help everyone. Sometimes it doesn't work. It is fairly rare, but I just wanted to be honest. And you'll never know unless you try. So please email me, book a call, click the link below, and we will arrange something in the not too distant future and have a chat. Thanks for watching.